with a little delay, welcome everybody to the ninth Winter Symposium of the Human Motion Project. So I'm going to be brief. So as you can see, it looks very similar to last year. So we said it's the same procedure as last year. And by same procedure, we mean we have not even changed the title. Human Motion in Times of COVID-19, a booster for walking, the use of wearables in clinical trials and telemedicine in clinical practice, question mark. Last year, at the same title, we came to the conclusion, the answer is yes. And in a sense, the answer also for this symposium is going to be yes, and we fill this with details. You see that many of the speakers from last year will again talk, and we will see somehow the increment of how things have developed. Well, the same procedure as last year was meant to be a very smart prediction. So contrary to expectations at that time, we said, well, COVID will still be around, and and the similar problems that have to do with aerosols and vaccinations and digitization and so on will play a role. What we also have this year is actually a support by the Bavarian Medical Association. There was a bit back and forth whether they are willing to give us medical education points or whether they want to support this meeting at all. And there was a communication with them, and the question was, is this, what we're doing here, also helpful for clinicians and their teams? And there was one interesting story, because before, well, months ago, we already talked about COVID and triage in the context of COVID-19 with some of the clinicians. And they said, well, they were forced to have some guidelines for triage, but they have no experience, and they have never experienced, and they only know from colleagues in war times that this was a topic. And this is now, of course, what everyone knows, the big change. It's not true that it's the same procedure as last year. We are living in a really different environment, and it's clear that this is somehow the light that shines over today's conference. And well, you've seen many pictures, and I've just picked out this one that shows how absurd this all is. Yeah? So we talk about aerosols and talk about tiny improvements of CTG monitoring, etc., and have pictures like this. And this woman, as you know, and the baby, they have died in the meantime. And I just want to mention that, well, we are all aware of what's going on there, not far away from here, sitting now in our warm home offices. And the question is, what are we doing today? And I would say, well, it's an attempt to be an island of coherent thinking and good methodology, and in particular doing this together with the next generation of researchers and students in a broad range of disciplines. And one discipline that is going to be very important is actually law and justice. And usually we don't have speakers from this region, and so we are very glad, I'm very glad personally, that we have Professor Walter from the University of Regensburg to talk about triage and equality. This was all designed and meant for actually triage with a focus actually on COVID-19, but as everyone understands, triage is now happening every day, and it's cruel. On the other hand, well, we cannot, as we sit here, we cannot change this directly, but indirectly, well, there is hope. And from that point of view, this is the end of my introduction, and I would now hand over to Tony Walter, and then we will have discussions and then make the adaptations to the program as needed. Yeah. Okay, so then I hand over to Tonio.